Phrase 3 was this: his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. And in this translation you have saying, change the glory of God. The better word in there should be exchange the glory of God, because it was a this for that thing going on. This for that. When you think of it, science and pagan faiths from way back when are really not any different in purpose. The reason that there were pagan religions and all kinds of witchcraft and all of those things was mankind trying to figure out a way how the universe works. It was an interpretation of reality. We have science today, so we don't worry about, as Paul is speaking of wooden idols. No, we don't have that. Now we have electron microscopes. The idea is still the same, and it's not a bad thing. It's that we're trying to interpret the reality around us. That's what it's all about. And science is doing it. That's what science is all about, interpreting the physical universe. And in the past few decades, there's probably one field of science that's exploded beyond almost all others is in the field of genetics. Well, wow, what we have found out about those tiny molecules that fit together and make the building blocks of life. It's said now that the human body now possesses 30,000 different genes, 30,000, all in a specific order so that you're a person and not a frog. But all in a specific order. So here it is. But that's all science tells you. It tells you that there are genetic building blocks and it makes whatever it is that you are. That's what science tells us. And they're arranged somehow to come up with the life forms that exist. Now, there are different ways you could go. Richard Dawkins is a renowned geneticist, well known in his field. He has moved in the area of seeing this in such a way that he is a militant atheist. Not just an atheist, he is all religion should be eradicated. It is a scourge. On the other hand, Dr. Francis Collins is also a renowned geneticist. And Francis Collins, he believes so much as he looks at this handiwork of God, this thumbprint of God, that he gives a Christian lecture called God in the Genome. One person takes the science and sees it godless. Another sees God in it. But it fits in exactly what Paul's saying, is that there it is. You interpret for yourself. Sodom, Gomorrah, Babylon, ancient Israel, Nazi Germany, all of them had some exposure to the one true God, but decided to exchange it for something humanly fabricated. In every case, humanistic thinking in some way. Something we came up. Here's something though. Here's something to kind of throw a twist in the mix. What was the real idol? See, the thing of things like witchcraft, sorcery in its day when it was really big, or the pagan religions, when you have an idol, even Christianity, people have tried to turn it into an idol. When you have an idol, the idea is to formulate a way in which you can manipulate the power to do what you want. Whether it be that sacrifice to the stone god, or adding herbs and doing incantations. The whole idea is you want something done and you're bending the will of the universe to what you want. That is idol worship. Really, when you think with science, now pure science is simply finding fact. But we're big in, and rightly so, with scientific application. I discovered something new. How do I apply that? So in effect, we try and bend science to our will. Here's how we can control the universe. In itself, not such a bad thing. But here's the core of it. You see, the idols were never really stone statues. The idol is not the electron microscope. The idol is self. It always has been. Making that do what self wants. Self to be in control. The real idol has always been self. So, we ignore the God despite the handiwork so self can have its way. And the entire society can take that mentality. It sounds so logical. Worship self and then you'll be happy, you get everything you want. But the first casualty in the idol of self is self. The first thing to lose value is self. And then what happens is once a person sees very little value in themselves, it's a small step to see no value in anyone else. And that's what the road follows. And when we look at all these societies we've been talking about that fell under moral expediency, that's exactly what happened. The men of Sodom didn't even want the girls, they wanted to rape the angels. The Nazis baked human beings in ovens. The terrorists of Central America twist innocent children into killers without conscience. Man, what these people will do to destroy the humanity in a little child. All in this human, or this moral expediency we're talking about. And God gives them over, and there is the consequence. We lose our own humanity. We lose being human. So when you look at that storyline in the Purge, all crime being legal, boy, that sure seems a long way off. Maybe not as far off as we think. And pretty good lesson for the church. Let's then turn our place into a fortress and keep out the world. Never works. Eventually, there's never been a fort built in human history that was not eventually conquered by the world. Fortress mentality just doesn't work. Eventually, there's nowhere to hide, and then you know what happens? At some point, you either face the evil or become the evil. 4,000 years of human history, and that is the story of it. Societies that decide to untether and drift morally collapse. They sink. Societies have turned around and have survived even on the brink. However, it was dramatic. It was not business as usual. It wasn't with the way things used to be and all of this. It was just a return to the person of God.